Morning, folks. It's Patrick, and on this episode, my wife and I embark on an 11-day road trip to Moab, Utah for our 7-year anniversary. After a day and a half of driving, we had finally reached Colorado, and as the mountains began to appear in the distance, it started to feel like a dream. We had been driving for hours and started to develop an appetite, so we decided it was best to stop off in the nearest town, which happened to be Idaho Springs, for a pizza from a place called Bo Joe's. And I'll have to admit, the pizza wasn't that great, but the town seemed like a nice place. After getting our food, it became a race with the impending darkness approaching. So we used the iOverlander app so we could find a place to boondock for the night. And it turned out to be off exit 221, the trailhead between Lower Loveland parking lot and Bakerville. Good morning, folks. It's Patrick, and we are in the Rocky Mountains. We're on an 11-day road trip from Ohio to Moab, Utah. We hit the road as soon as possible to make use of the time we had. Our plan was to make it to Moab by midday, and because it was sort of cold in Colorado, we were looking forward to the warm desert. Just stopped in for coffee. The Red Buffalo. We're about an hour and a half from Glenwood Springs. We're going to try to find a hot spring to take a bath in because I'm feeling kind of raunchy. Hey, Rocky Mountains. We made a pit stop before we go through the Glenwood Canyon at the rest stop. I forget what the name's called. But finally got out my drive clothes and I actually feel ready for adventure, feel refreshed. The mighty Colorado. Because this canyon's susceptible to flash floods, there's probably all kinds of debris flowing in that river. So I would never swim in something like that. We found a hot spring and it smells like rotten eggs, but it just feels so good.
Does it? That's your booty almost. Yeah, it does. Smells like rotten egg.
I've had my fill, I think. That is a bald eagle. As we moved further westward through Colorado, we began to notice a dramatic change in the scenery around us. After 2.5 days, we had finally made it. We arrived in Utah. And there it was within view, the entrance into Arches National Park, the pinnacle of our 11-day road trip. As soon as we arrived in Moab, we were immediately drawn to the food truck park. And I'd highly recommend the falafel wrap from the Mediterranean Wrap It Up food truck. We began scouting for a place where we could set up a campsite and rest for the remainder of the evening. Our search first led us off of Utah 128 into the Castle Monument area. The Colorado River follows a canyon, and dotted along it are BLM campsites. Most of them are $20 to use. Unfortunately for us, every single one of them was taken. Well, looks like we'll try somewhere else. This time, Potash Road. This area is well renowned for its rock climbing.
Petroglyphs.
And what do you know? Every spot was taken, completely packed to the gills with campers and rock climbers. But it was Friday, and we were seeing all kinds of awesome views, so we weren't going to be deterred. This is what's known as Jug Handle Arch, because it looks like a jug handle. Oh my gosh, this is probably the most beautiful terrain I've ever seen in my life. I'm overwhelmed. Don't know what to do. I mean, as far as like where to go, there's too much to see here, and like I said, I'm just overwhelmed at what to do first. But luckily we have a whole week It is very packed. Every camp BLM campground that we've checked is already got every spot reserved. So we're going to drive north and see if we can't find something that's a little more further away from Moab. I overheard a local say the reason these are so high is because when they made this road, they had to excavate part of the ground. Just checked out the petroglyphs. As I was walking back to the car, I couldn't help but notice a vibrant patch of opuntia growing next to the road. We ended up at Dubinki Well Road, which is off Utah 313, a little bit further north on 191 from 279. This turned out to be the perfect area to stage for the next day of hiking in the Badlands National Park. By this point, we still hadn't found a campsite yet, and we started to lose hope. It was becoming very evident that nightfall was approaching. We found this pull-off, but unfortunately seen signs that said it was a habitat restoration area and there was no camping allowed. Made it to a spot that we called our own. We're out on the BLM lands off some well road or something. The Binky Well Road, maybe? 313 north of Moab a little bit. I'm gonna set my tent up on that side, so. There was a beautiful patch of rose heath growing next to our camp. And I'd highly recommend the wine from the Spanish Valley Vineyards. It was very tasty and it didn't give me a hangover this time. Hannah's got hamburgers on our trusty dusty Eureka grill. The sun is setting in the high desert. There's a half moon. The stars are already starting to pop. I gotta get this picture though. Got to turn the corn.
No, the other way. You had it right the other way. Turn them both. No, yes. Thank you. Okay.
Cool. Perfectly cooked hamburger in the high desert, as Art Bell would say. This is midnight in the desert. Hey everybody, it's Future Patrick, and for some context, I wanted to let you know that this was originally planned to be one large video, but I've got too much footage and I decided to break it up into multiple parts. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for part 2.